more money in your pocket so you and your family can get ahead. Voilà ce sur quoi
This is what the federal election is all about this year. Who do you trust to put more money in your pockets so that you and your family can get ahead?
One of the first things the Trudeau Liberals did 4 years ago was eliminate tax credits for families. He took away the public transit credit, and he took away important support that parents need. Why? Because at the end of the day, Justin Trudeau thinks he can spend your money better than you. But we all know that his poor judgment leads him to spend money on things we don't need. Then he sticks you with the bill. Over the course of this campaign, Trudeau is going to make a bunch of big spending promises. But he's already proven he can't be trusted on the things that truly matter to families. If he's re-elected, his endless deficits will force him to raise taxes even higher. His carbon tax will go up and make gas, groceries, and home heating even more expensive, up to $2,000 more expensive per year per family. His debt will consume public services like education and healthcare, and his poor judgment will lead to more scandal at home and more weakness abroad. I have a positive vision for Canada and a plan for all Canadians to get ahead. A new Conservative government will live within our means so that we can lower your taxes, to put more money in your pockets for you, for your kids, and for your retirement. And over the coming weeks, we will propose new, concrete measures to relieve the pressure and ease the burdens that families face every day. Just yesterday, I announced that a new Conservative government will cut income taxes for every Canadian. The universal tax cut will save a typical two-income family with average salaries $850 a year. That's $850 back in your pocket each and every year. I have a plan for all Canadians to get ahead. A plan for you and your kids to have the life you've been working so hard for. Now, I'm a dad to 5 exceptional kids, and my wife Jill and I know firsthand that when families grow, so do the expenses that come along with it. And my plan to help Canadian parents is focused on helping those hardworking moms and dads who just want to give their kids the best life they can, whether it's hockey programs or dance lessons, basketball or soccer, whether it's piano lessons, musical theater, or a little extra help with math, science, or even studying a second language. Every parent wants to give their kid the chance to get ahead.
Whether it's for hockey or dance or basketball or soccer, whether it's piano lessons or theater, or a little bit of help with math, science, or learning a new language. All parents want to give their children a chance to succeed in life.
Times over, having children is a blessing, but giving kids the chance to play a sport, learn an instrument, or work with a tutor is beyond the financial means of many Canadian families. That is why I'm so proud today to announce that as Prime Minister, I will introduce the Children's Fitness Tax Credit that will allow parents to claim up to $1,000 per child per year for fitness and sports-related expenses. We will make that credit refundable, so lower-income families benefit most. And parents of children living with disabilities will be able to claim an additional $500. But we won't stop there. A new Conservative government will introduce the Children's Arts and Learning Tax Credit for parents to claim up to $500 per child for arts program expenses or for other educational activities outside of school. This credit will also be refundable.
I am proud to announce today that as Prime Minister, I will introduce the Children's Fitness Tax Credit, under which families can deduct $1,000 per child per year for sports and physical activities. This tax credit will be refundable so that families will benefit most. And the parents of children with a disability will be able to claim an additional amount of $500 per child. A new Conservative government will also introduce the Arts and Learning Tax Credit to allow parents to deduct up to $500 per child for expenses associated with the artistic activities of their children or other educational activities outside school. That credit will also be refundable.
It will be flexible. So if you choose language lessons or math tutoring, this credit will apply to those activities too. And parents of children living with disabilities will be able to claim double the amount, up to $1,000 per child per year. Every single family with children 16 or under will be eligible for these new credits. This will help parents ensure that if their child needs a little bit of extra help to succeed at school, they can get that help. If their child wants to learn an instrument or take an art class, parents can give them that chance as well. And if a child wants to be active, try a new sport, or play on a team, parents can provide them that opportunity as well. Justin Trudeau has spent the last 4 years fighting for his billionaire friends and his powerful connections. I'm running to be Prime Minister for all Canadians who just need a break. The people who are doing the right things, getting an education, getting a good job, working hard, paying their bills on time, but who still can't seem to get ahead in life. The parents who sit around the dinner table crunching the numbers to figure out how they'll make it to the end of the month, like my parents often did. That's who I'm fighting for, and that's who a new Conservative government this fall will govern for.
I'm running to be the Prime Minister of all Canadians who want assistance to get ahead. For those people who do the right things, like study, get a good job, pay their bills on time, but just can't get ahead. For those parents sitting around the kitchen table who are doing their calculations to see how they can make ends meet, as my parents often did. I am fighting for them, and a new Conservative government will govern for them.
The stage is set and the choice is clear between a Prime Minister who will make life more expensive and a Prime Minister that will help you get ahead. Where Justin Trudeau will use the power of his office to reward his friends and punish his enemies, I will uphold the rule of law, bring ethics and integrity back to government, and shine a light on his scandal and corruption. Where he will say no to the dreams and aspirations of Canadians, I will say yes. And where he will cost you more and make your life more expensive, I will run a government that lives within its means, because I have a plan to put more money in your pockets so you can get ahead. Our family-friendly tax credits for fitness, arts, and learning are part of helping young families get ahead. And they are part of my positive Conservative vision for Canada. And that is what I am offering to Canadians on October 21st. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Hi, Mr. Scheer, Janice Dixon, the Globe and Mail. You've criticized the Liberal government for running deficits. The large income tax cut you announced yesterday could make the deficit even larger. You mentioned cutting funding to the Asian Infrastructure Bank. That's $250 million. What else will you not be spending money on?
Well, as I've indicated, we are going to get back to balanced budget over a responsible period of time. That is going to be over the 5-year time period. We will do that. We will show Canadians exactly how we will get back to balanced budgets during this campaign. It's incredibly important that we do that because we know that massive deficits for years and years and years threaten social programs. It means more and more of the tax dollars of Canadians are going to pay the interest on that debt. That's why we have to get back to balanced budgets, and we'll be showing Canadians exactly how we're going to do that.
The Liberal war room is running attack after attack. How do you think your team has handled that so far? And is your plan of running a positive campaign working?
I believe that when Canadians see what each party is focused on, they're going to see that the Conservative Party is focused on concrete measures to make life more affordable and help them get ahead. If the Liberals want to focus on these types of attacks, I will say that the candidate that I am most concerned about is the Liberal candidate for Papineau, someone who has broken ethics laws twice, who has invited a terrorist along to a state event, who is pictured with Joshua Boyle, and who is blocking attempts at the RCMP to get to the bottom of the SNC-Lavalin scandal. That candidate would never pass Conservative vetting. Oui. Alors, si les libéraux veulent continuer avec le plan, les Canadiens peuvent voir qu'il y a seulement un parti qui offre les idées concrètes pour rendre la vie plus abordable. Et je suis confiant que c'est l'enjeu le plus important pour les Canadiens partout au pays. Et le seul candidat le candidat que j'avais le plus d'inquiétude, c'est le candidat libéral de Papineau, qui a brisé les lois sur l'éthique 2 fois, qui a invité quelqu'un qui est reconnu coupable d'être un terroriste à un événement officiel et qui a nuire l'investigation de
been blocking the RCMP from investigating potential obstruction. So this is a candidate who would never have come through the Conservative vetting process. Mr. Scheer, the attack on oil facilities are causing, the attack has caused a lot of instability. Obviously, this will have an impact at the pump. What could your government do to help with that? The situation in Saudi Arabia shows just how important it is to be energy independent. And the only solution really is to have a proper energy corridor so that we can move oil from the west to the east of Canada and get rid of foreign oil. And I'm the only candidate running for Prime Minister who will do that. Yes, Mr. Scheer, there aren't many facilities in eastern Canada to refine crude oil. So how can that be considered a solution? We won't be more independent. Well, that's the idea. The idea is to be independent in terms of our energy. And this is a vision for Canada with the energy corridor. At the same time, we will have a short-term action plan to ensure that pipelines can be built. And at the same time, the energy corridor will allow Quebec to share its hydroelectricity with the other provinces. I have to say that Justin Trudeau's solution is to impose a carbon tax that will make gas even more expensive. And when he's questioned, he says that higher prices for gas are exactly what he's looking for. Now, the Conservatives want to make life more affordable, and we will have a system in place that allows Western oil to reach the eastern part of the country, and we won't need foreign oil. We will be less dependent on oil from Saudi Arabia. But what if we can't refine it in Canada? Well, there are refineries in eastern Canada, and there is a plan to expand those refineries. So, yes, it will take some time, but if we don't get started immediately, we will continue to depend on Saudi Arabia for years to come.
Well, obviously, the situation in Saudi Arabia clearly shows the need for Canada to be independent of foreign energy. And that's exactly the principle behind my national energy corridor, which will allow large infrastructure projects to get built to transport Canadian energy from Western Canada to Eastern Canada. It would also give Quebec the opportunity to share its hydroelectricity with other provinces as well. And I'm the only candidate for Prime Minister who has a plan to get that done.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. Mia Rabson from the Canadian Press. There are some young people on Parliament Hill and across the country today. They're saying that they're making a pledge that they will not have children because they are so concerned about climate change, and they will not have children until they see proper action from the government. What do you say to those kids who don't actually even want to have children, let alone have a future?
Well, I mean, obviously, as someone who has 5 children, I believe children are a great blessing, and they are the future of our country and the future of our society. I will say to anyone who's concerned about climate change and Canada's environment, global environment, is that we are the only party with a real plan for the environment. We have concrete proposals that will reduce Canada's CO2 emissions, take the climate change fight global, and put money back in the pockets of Canadians. Under Justin Trudeau's plan, everything is getting more expensive with a carbon tax, and we're falling further and further behind our targets, so I understand why they would be frustrated with this Liberal government.
En français?
Oui, alors, comme une père de 5 enfants.
Yes, as the father of 5 children, I believe that children are a blessing. And I can understand people's frustration when they look at Justin Trudeau and see that Canada is falling further behind in terms of our targets. And we're the only party with a real plan for the environment that will ensure that we address climate change in a global context, putting more money back in the pockets of Canadians with the home renovation tax credit. So I understand that frustration, but I think it's important to say that children are a good thing.
It's the second time so far that you've announced or you're resurrecting a tax credit that the former government had in place. When those were cancelled, the Liberals said that they were doing it in part to increase the Canada Child Benefit, which you are also saying that you're going to maintain, and that was their choice. What choice are you going to make in terms of tough choices to balance the budget, and on these, how many more of these tax credits are you going to be resurrecting?
Well, I can assure you that throughout the rest of this campaign, we'll be proposing new ideas to leave more money in the pockets of Canadians. These were incredibly popular tax credits. Hundreds of thousands of Canadian families appreciated the extra help with paying for kids' activities. That is why they were so disappointed when Justin Trudeau canceled them. And again, it goes back to choices. Justin Trudeau believes that he can spend your money better than you can. And that is why he canceled these types of very popular tax credits. We will be bringing them back. We will also have a fully costed platform that shows Canadians exactly how we're going to get back to balanced budgets while still maintaining increases to important services like healthcare and education. It's a question of controlling the rate of growth of government departments and some philosophical differences. You know, we don't believe that Canadian taxpayers' dollars should be sent to the Asian Infrastructure Bank to build roads and bridges in other countries. That's just one example of how we're going to invest in the priorities for Canadians.
Yes, it's clear that tax credits like this were very popular with Canadian families. There are hundreds of thousands of Canadians that benefited from those tax credits. And I was very disappointed when Justin Trudeau decided to get rid of them. So we will be proposing new ideas throughout the campaign to leave more money in the pockets of Canadians, and we will show Canadians just how we can balance the budget even as we maintain investments in social programs like healthcare and education.
Mr. Scheer, good morning. Omar Sechedina from CTV News. You and several of your candidates are claiming that the Liberals will raise the capital gains tax on the sale of principal residences. The Liberals say this is 100% false. Will you stop making this claim and direct your candidates who are also making this claim to do the same?
Well, let's keep in mind that just because Justin Trudeau says he'll do something, it doesn't mean he'll do it. You can't trust him. He has raised taxes on Canadian families, even though he said he wouldn't. So when we see that this is the type of idea that Liberals are proposing, I think Canadians are rightly concerned about it. This idea was put forward by a hand-picked Liberal member of Parliament, someone who's very close to Justin Trudeau, and these are the types of ideas that Justin Trudeau will need to implement after the election when he doesn't need your vote, but he still needs your money.
The Liberals are saying that this was a summary of opinions, that it was never a policy proposal, and that it was never under consideration. So, you know, given that one of their own candidates has also gone on radio, the party says, to say that this was false and a bad idea, is what the candidate said. Will you stop making the claim that that they are going to do this?
Well, Justin Trudeau has lost all confidence from the Canadian people to tell the truth. When he says he's not going to do something, people just can't trust him. He said he wouldn't raise taxes on the middle class. He did. He said he would balance the budget in 2019. He didn't. He said Jody Wilson-Raybould never came to him with her concerns. Turns out she did. He has lied in the past. He has broken promises. And one thing Canadians can be sure of is that this is the mindset of Liberals. They are not looking for ways to put more money in the pockets of Canadians. The ideas that are coming from their caucus and that they're putting forward are all about getting new revenues from Canadians because they're running these massive deficits that have to be paid back at some point.
En français?
Oui.
Yes, it's clear that this is the only thing that the Liberals are seeking to do so that they can get more money out of Canadian families. And we cannot trust Justin Trudeau. He has told lies in the past, and he will continue to do that. He said that he would balance the budget in 2019. He didn't do it. He said he would never increase taxes on Canadians, and he did. He said that Ms. Wilson-Raybould never discussed her concerns with him, and we now know that was false. So he lied. He will continue to say things that aren't true, but Canadians can see that this is the only thing that the Liberals are interested in, getting more money to deal with their deficit.
Good morning. Kent Mulgat from Kelowna now. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Up until 2015, this was considered an ultra-safe conservative riding, and then it was lost to the Liberals. Is that part of the reason why we're seeing you here this morning?
Of course. I'm going to be going all across the country, visiting ridings that we held in the past but lost in 2015. And I've already heard I've been to Kelowna several times since becoming leader of the Conservative Party, and I've heard from so many people who said that they voted Liberal in 2015 and they regret that, and now they're voting Conservative in 2019. So we're very optimistic. We also have a situation where the local Liberal member of Parliament had let so many people down. The small business community here in Kelowna is so vibrant, and it's essential to the economic well-being of the region. And when the local Liberal member of Parliament voted in favor of all those tax hikes on small businesses, I heard it directly, our candidate here heard it directly. They were so disappointed that their MP was not standing up for their interests. So I think people are looking for a change at the local level, and of course people are looking for a change on the national level as well.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Scheer. Katie Simpson, CBC News. I want to pick up on something that my colleague just asked you about. You're accusing Justin Trudeau and the Liberals of misleading Canadians and in some cases lying. But are you not doing the exact same thing that you're accusing Justin Trudeau of by pushing this line on the capital gains tax? They say it's not true, and it was part of a policy proposal. So are you not putting a lie out there to Canadians?
They've said a lot of things that aren't true. They've said a lot of things. They said they wouldn't do things that they ended up doing, and they said they wouldn't do things that they would do things that they ended up not doing. And that's very clear. Justin Trudeau is running around spreading fear and misinformation about our campaign. I've made it very clear to Canadians that we're going to maintain increases to social services like health care and education. He refuses to accept that. So if they are passing around policy papers and putting forward ideas that give a glimpse into the mindset of a government that is desperate for new revenues because they're running these massive deficits, I think Canadians have a right to know that this is the type of thing that's being contemplated.
My follow-up question has to do with what you told reporters on Saturday night about the process of a past comment coming forward. Yesterday, while you were in British Columbia, you're still in British Columbia, but yesterday, the Liberal War Room again targeted two of your candidates, Shinder Purwal and John Hurst. I've reached out to your team and no one's gotten back to me, so I'm wondering, given the comments that they've made in the past, whether it be on social media or those past comments, did they apologize, and are you going to still stand by them? And how did that process happen?
Yeah, so as I said, our party and all our candidates are committed to the equality rights of all Canadians, and all 338 candidates will be promoting a message of inclusivity and respect. And if we're going to talk about candidates, let's talk about the Liberal candidate in Papineau, who broke ethics laws twice, who brought a convicted terrorist along to an official state function, who is now interfering and blocking an RCMP investigation into the SNC Lavalin affair. I also look forward to Justin Trudeau's response to allegations that he took Faith Goldie out for drinks. So I'd love to hear what his response is to those allegations.
Mr. Scheer, Mike Lecouture from Global National. Yesterday, today, and I'm assuming you're going to be announcing a lot more of these targeted tax cuts, just like you did last week with the transit tax. Experts have already said that they don't change behavior at all. So why are you going back to these?
Well, one thing that we're hearing from Canadians is that life is getting more and more expensive. And these types of tax credits do make life more affordable. These are costs that families have to bear. Taking public transit to work or putting your children activities are things that families have to do and want to do. So this is part of our affordability message. I will also point to you that with things like the public transit tax credit, we do have statements from people like the president of the Toronto Transit Commission who said that that the cancellation of these tax credits had a negative impact on ridership. I'll also point out that yesterday's tax cut announcement is a universal tax cut that benefits every single Canadian. It is a broad-based income tax cut that will provide relief for Canadian families. So we're going to have a great package of tax cuts that includes some targeted measures as well as some broad-based measures as well.
Yes, it's clear that tax credits such as the ones we're announcing today and the one last week do help to make life more affordable for Canadians on essential costs. And that's the reason we decided to reintroduce these tax credits. But I should also point out that yesterday we announced a tax cut that would affect every Canadian. It's very comprehensive, and it will leave more money in the pockets of all Canadians. And during this campaign, we will be introducing a suite of tax cuts with a good mix for all Canadians.
Are announcing all these things things will take revenue away from the government, and promising a balanced budget. Now, one of my colleagues asked you, and you didn't really answer the question. So other than the Asian Infrastructure Bank contribution, can you just name one other place that you're going to cut to get to a balanced budget?
We'll be releasing our fully costed platform that will show exactly how we'll do that. In the coming days, we'll be making further announcements of some philosophical differences that we have with the Liberal Party as to how they think they can spend money better than Canadians. We know that a dollar left in the pockets of a hardworking Canadian is always better spent than in the pockets of a politician who taxed it. So we'll be making further announcements on that. But one thing is clear, we will lower the cost of living, put more money back in the pockets of Canadians, while bringing us back to balanced budgets over a responsible period of time and maintaining increases in funding for essential services like healthcare and education. Oui. Alors, on va avoir des annonces.
Yes, we will be making announcements in the coming days to explain how we will balance the budget at the same time as we cut taxes and increase investments in critical programs like health and education. But one thing is clear. The Conservatives understand that $1 in the pocket of a taxpayer who's working hard is better spent than in the hands of a politician taxing it. So that is the difference between the Liberals and the Conservatives. But we will be divulging our costed program before the election date.
Spanovich from CBC News. The Assembly of First Nations National Chief Perry Bellegarde recently called on you to publicly disavow from Harper's approach to Indigenous issues. Will you commit to this now?
So I have a great working relationship with Perry Bellegarde. He's from my riding of Regina Capel. We've had a number of good conversations. He's called me directly in the past on issues that are important to him, and I've always made myself and my office accessible to him. I visited the Assembly of First Nations General Assemblies to hear concerns directly from Indigenous chiefs from across the country, and I will continue to have that type of positive, open working relationship with both Mr. Bellegarde and Indigenous leaders from all walks of life, from all parts of the country. Oui, alors j'ai une relation.
Yes, I have a professional relationship with Mr. Bellegarde, a very warm relationship. He comes from my own riding of Regina Capel, and I've had many meetings with him. And I addressed the National Assembly of First Nations. So I will continue to have a positive and open approach to him and all of the Aboriginal leaders.
A new approach to Indigenous issues today. Can you make that commitment?
Well, I've just committed to having a positive, open working relationship with both Mr. Bellegarde and the AFN and all Indigenous chiefs who have concerns. Our party is very supportive of measures that would improve the quality of life for Indigenous Canadians, both on and off reserve, and we'll continue to do that. And I will continue to have an open relationship with Indigenous chiefs, make myself available personally and my office, and as Prime Minister, I'll absolutely focus and concentrate on issues that are important to Indigenous Canadians. Thanks very much, everyone. Merci beaucoup.
Conservative leader Andrew Scheer there. He is in Lake Country, British Columbia, in the Okanagan Valley, and announcing there a children's fitness tax credit and an arts and learning tax credit, but also taking lots of questions from reporters about a host of other topics.